The Philadelphia Phillies 2022 season was a roller coaster of a year that ended with them going on a Cinderella story playoff run. They swept the St. Louis Cardinals in the wildcard round, defeated the defending World Series champion Atlanta Braves in the NLDS, and beat San Diego in the NLCS before running into the powerhouse Houston Astros in the World Series and losing in 6 games. Their magical run was a fluke. They just got hot at the right time. They didn't even deserve to be in the playoffs. That's the reaction you'll hear from most baseball fans, but a deeper look at it shows their 2022 playoff run is an indicator of good things to come.
Before we get into the video, welcome to MLB Updates 365, a baseball channel discussing all types of topics. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure to do so. Let's get into the video.
Last season, the Philadelphia Phillies got off to an awful start and were the most disappointing team in baseball through the first 50 games of the year, sitting at 21-29 despite high expectations and big offseason signings. The Phillies had the 8th worst record in Major League Baseball entering the final day of May, and it was obvious something had to go, and manager Joe Girardi was fired on May 31st. Rob Thompson was named interim manager, but that wasn't going to change a thing, right? Wrong. On May 31st, the team was 7.5 games back of the third and final wildcard spot, but went 18-9 in June, 15-10 in July, and 18-10 in August, and by September were 15 games over 500. Altogether under Thompson, the Phillies went 66-46, ended their 11-year playoff drought in the final weekend of the year, and over the course of a 162-game season, were on pace for 95 wins. From June 1st, the day Thompson took over, the Phillies had the 4th most wins in the National League, trailing the New York Mets by 1 game, while the Dodgers and Braves were in a league of their own. Philadelphia was a completely different team after the managerial change. They were up there with the best of the best in the National League, and then they had their magical postseason run, which only proved the amount of talent on the roster. The franchise, players, and fans all got a taste of the playoff atmosphere, and instead of doing nothing about it, they only added this all season to try and get back there and win. Dave Dombrowski has been a winning general manager on 4 different teams for a reason, and he addressed all the team's needs right away. Trey Turner was their first and biggest free agent signing after they agreed to an 11-year, $300 million deal. They then went out and added Taijuan Walker for the rotation, and on the very same day added Matt Strahm as a lefty out of the bullpen. Former All-Star Craig Kimbrell was brought in on Christmas Eve, and to wrap it up, Gregory Soto was acquired yesterday afternoon from the Detroit Tigers. Compared to last season, the Phillies' off-season additions are upgrades all across the board. Turner takes over for Gene Segura, Walker replaces Kyle Gibson, Strahm replaces Brad Hand, and Kimbrell and Soto become late-inning bullpen options with closer experience. Outside of their all-season additions, it's hard not to be optimistic about the major improvements from some of their young guys and the impact they can have going forward. Rookie Bryson Stott was a completely different player from the first half to the second half, and with a full year of Major League experience, should only continue to improve. Brandon Marsh's offense took a huge leap following a midseason trade from Los Angeles and will only benefit from a full season in Philadelphia. Alec Bohm completely transformed under Thompson and became a key contributor for them down the stretch, and Jose Alvarado turned into one of the most dominant relief pitchers after June. On top of that, 19-year-old and baseball's top pitching prospect Andrew Painter is set to debut this season with a high chance to make the Phillies rotation out of spring training. Last year, the Phillies ranked 7th in runs scored per game, 14th in starting pitching ERA, and 22nd in bullpen ERA, and managed to win 87 games. With an improved lineup, rotation, and bullpen, the Phillies are set to be a way better team in 2023, or more so, the team that they were in the second half and the playoffs. The outlier for them is Nick Castellanos, who never got things going last year, and a bounce-back season would only make this Phillies team that much more scary, especially with Bryce Harper set to miss the first few months of the season. Although the Phillies did improve, the NL East is stacked. The Atlanta Braves have won the division each of the last 5 years, and the New York Mets had a record-setting offseason and are coming off a 100-plus win season in 2022. Not only is their division tough, but the National League as a whole has tons of talent. The Padres improve, and the Dodgers are still a really good team, so it'll be tough to repeat as National League champions, but this Phillies team is better than people think.